Alright, I'm just gonna do a quick video on how my homemade air compressor works. Uh, Basically, in the top here of this steel head, it's just a 15mm thick steel plate, and there's just non-return valves in there. And inside the block here, it's a 4-cylinder. You got 4 pistons in it, and each one of them, they go up and down as the crankshaft rotates. The 2 in the middle, as they go up, the 2 outer ones go down. So yeah, and so inside this head, basically, you've got your inlet manifold on this side, and on this side, this is your outlet manifold. And with my one, there's 4 valves per cylinder. It's just for more airflow. And so there's 2 on the inlet, 2 for the inlet, and 2 for the outlet. And so what happens is, as the piston goes down, it creates there's a slight vacuum plus gravity, and also a little bit of help. Not really, it doesn't really matter. It's not necessary, but a bit from air blown from the supercharger. That then I'll get to the valves in a minute. The valves then they drop down, basically opening, and then that allows, with the air being blown in, and also the suction created by the piston, draws all the air in. When it gets to the bottom of the stroke and starts going back up again, those valves will get pushed up onto their seat, and so therefore they seal off. And then the valves on the outlet, they then lift off their seats, because as the piston was going down, the vacuum was acting on them and sealing them, kind of. That also, and with air pressure, it's already built up from previous strokes, that then acting on them, sealing them off as well. So then when the piston comes back up, these inlet valves seal, and the exhaust valves lift off their seat and let the air out. And so that's how it works. It's just like your most air compressors that you get. Just that this one's a lot bigger. It's 2.25 litres. I don't know what that would be. I think 550 cc per cylinder. It's a 3.5 inch. It's 90mm bore by 88mm stroke. I think that's it. Which is it's like 3.5 by 3.5, more or less. With the valves on it, they're the same kind that Charger Miles 007 uses in his homemade air compressors. And what they are is just the little stainless steel discs. They're almost like repair washers, only they haven't got a hole in the middle of them for the bolt. They're just like discs, and they're what moving up and down. And there's videos on his page that it shows how they work. So now they just sit in little holes, little like pockets in the head. And as for the inlets, the seat is on the top. It's just on the top of it, of the head on this side basically. And then for the seats are kind of the valves for the exhaust. The valves are sitting on top of the seats for the exhaust. So the inlet, it's as if you were looking down, you'd see a seat first, and then the valve, the disc. And for the outlet, you'd see the disc, and then the seat underneath that. And so it's just like they're just opposite way around from each other. So that's what allows the air to be sucked in and pumped out. I think that's just really how it works. Yeah. I've this supercharger on it. It's just an old turbocharger. I mean, it was a bit of a joke, really. I don't think it works. Well, it'll pump a bit of air, but it really just push it in. It won't actually pressurize it or anything, I don't think. I've retained this little wall around the side here. That's just coolant sits in there, and that helps keep it cool. I've had it running about an hour, and after about an hour running, it's just warm. It's nice and warm. It's not quite as nice. It's not quite as warm as like a hot bath, but it's it's nice and warm. So I mean, it's doing all right after an hour. And as you can see here, it gets driven off the back of my brother's tractor. It's a David Brown 885. It's a 48 horsepower engine. I think it's about 43 PTO horsepower on it. I run it in, when I was blasting the other day, I was just doing plastics, and just so the compressor doesn't get too hot, I was running it in 540, not actually 540 RPM, but it was in the 540 selector for the PTO, and the engine was running at about 1300 RPM, so I don't know, it'll be only a few hundred RPM that the compressor was running at. But what was quite pleasing was that it was taking the paint off nicely, and I tried it on a bit of on a part off on my tractor that I'm restoring, and it stripped it back to bare metal in seconds. It was really good how it was doing, so hopefully I shouldn't need to run it in 1,000 the speed, which would in turn be running it at 540 RPM, that's where I have it set. That's what I'd need, but I don't think I will need that now. Just with that, I think that gauge, there must be a blockage somewhere in that gauge, because the gauge was only reading about 20 psi on it. Yeah, 20 psi apparently, that's what it says. That's what I was blasting at. So, and I mean, it wasn't like I was standing there for days on end waiting for a little wee bit for the sand to strip back to bare metal. It was, it was just like any normal decent blaster. It was taking it straight off. So I mean, I think there must be something wrong with that gauge. Maybe there's a bit of dirt in the back of it or something. Yeah, I'll do another video on my sandblaster setup and also my sort of propane air cooler, and so they'll be to come. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just send me a message and I'll be happy to help. Right.